We are fast approaching the end of the transfer window and the clubs still have a lot of signing to finalise. We also have a lot of big matches coming up. We will discuss all of this in today's video, whilst going over what Gary Lineker had to say about Celtic and Brendan Rodgers. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Aston Villa were held to a 1-1 draw by West Ham in Premier League action on Sunday as they prepared for their Champions League tie against Celtic. Jacob Ramsey opened the scoring for Villa in the 7th minute, but Emerson levelled for the visitors in the 70th to ensure both sides left Villa Park with a point. Unai Emery's side will now turn their focus to Europe, where they face the boys in green on Wednesday night in the final game of the Champions League phase. Villa have performed strongly in the competition's new format, sitting 9th in the standings after 7 matches. A win over Celtic could see them break into the top 8, which would allow them to bypass the first knockout round and head straight to the last 16. Celtic, currently 18th in the table, are also through to the knockout stage, but are unlikely to climb into the top 8, even with a win. That said, Brendan Rodgers' side will be determined to secure a strong result, especially after their disappointing league form earlier in the season. Villa will feel confident heading into the clash, bolstered by their strong Champions League campaign so far. Celtic, however, will face a challenge without their star striker, who was surprisingly sold to Rennes just days before this crucial fixture. Many fans have been left baffled by the timing of the transfer, which could leave the Hoops short in attack. The match kicks off at 8 p.m. on Wednesday night, with plenty at stake for both sides. Now for the main story, as footballing legend and Match of the Day presenter Gary Lineker has praised Celtic manager Brendan Rodgers for guiding the Hoops into the knockout stages of the Champions League. Lineker, a former Leicester City star and lifelong fan, reflected on Rodgers' managerial abilities during a discussion on The Rest is Football podcast. He didn't shy away from criticising sections of the Leicester fan base who were vocal in their desire to see the Northern Irishman leave the King Power Stadium. Rodgers, who previously managed Leicester to an FA Cup triumph in 2021, returned to Celtic this summer following a turbulent period in England, where a lack of backing and a declining squad eventually led to his exit. Reflecting on Leicester's struggles this season with the Foxes now fighting relegation under Ruud van Nistelrooy, Lineker had some pointed words. Speaking on the podcast, Lineker said, "A brilliant result for Brendan Rodgers and a reminder to all those Leicester fans that wanted to get him out. We had a top-class manager then. Be careful what you wish for." The timing of Lineker's remarks is significant, as Rodgers' second stint at Celtic continues to gain momentum. The manager has not only continued the domestic dominance, but has now made strides in Europe, steering Celtic beyond the Champions League group stages for the first time in over a decade. Their win against Young Boys confirmed their place, but it was big results against RB Leipzig, Atalanta away, and Slovan Bratislava that really did the damage. Leicester, meanwhile, are struggling at the wrong end of the Premier League table, and Van Nistelrooy's side look ill-equipped to turn things around. Rodgers' time at Leicester may have ended in frustration, but his success with Celtic shows his managerial pedigree. While Lineker's criticism of Leicester fans may sting, there's no doubt Rodgers is enjoying his renaissance in Glasgow, with Celtic fans relishing the opportunity to see their club competing among Europe's elite. In other news, former Celtic midfielder Matt O'Reilly has opened up about his challenging start at Brighton following a summer move reportedly worth over £25 million. The Danish international, who made a significant impact during his time at Parkhead, has struggled to find his footing in the Premier League after a cruel injury blow minutes into his debut. O'Reilly required surgery following that initial setback, and his recovery has been anything but straightforward. Despite his return to fitness, he has yet to complete a full 90 minutes for Brighton, admitting it has been a frustrating period as he works to adapt to a new style of play and find his rhythm in a highly competitive environment. "It's definitely been different adapting to a different style of play. It was a big change," he said. "Naturally, at Celtic, you had the ball for most of the game. The main thing is the way the games change speed in the Premier League. At Celtic, it was a case of go, 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 and we'd try to attack all the time. But at Brighton, the game often slows down and then speeds up, so it's a case of being able to adapt and learn." Reflecting on his time at Celtic, O'Reilly spoke glowingly about the impact Brendan Rodgers had on his career, crediting the Northern Irishman with providing him the confidence and freedom to thrive on the pitch. "Brendan put a lot of trust in me," O'Reilly said. "That's the reason last year came to fruition like it did. I had a manager that really believed in me, and he made me aware of that. That was really nice. By doing that, it allows you to have freedom on the pitch." he continued. I learned so much off Brendan. I try to be as open as I can be to improving. Brendan has been around football a long time. Our manager at Brighton is great, but respectively, he's still very young in his career. Their approaches are always going to be different. But Brendan was great for me. He was always very approachable and you could speak to him any time. While OReilly adjusts to the intensity and demands of Premier League football, he remains optimistic about his future. I haven't found the intensity too difficult, but I'm still getting used to the speed of the games. I would hope the best is still in front of me, for sure, he added. Since OReilly's departure, Celtic have gone from strength to strength under Brendan Rodgers' second tenure. The Hoops have reached the knockout stages of the Champions League for the first time in over a decade and remain well ahead in the SPFL title race. The club's dominant performances highlight the quality of the squad Rodgers has built, even in OReilly's absence. However, fans will no doubt continue to wish the midfielder success as he looks to rediscover his form in England's top flight. As the Celtic support keep an eye on OReilly's progress, his candid reflections on his time in Glasgow and gratitude towards Rodgers shows the atmosphere the manager has cultivated at Celtic. Lastly, former defender turned pundit Stephen Carragher has expressed his astonishment at the lack of interest from top clubs in Celtic striker Kyogo Furuhashi as the Japanese forward's £10 million move to Rennes edges closer to completion. Speaking about the situation, Carragher said, I'm amazed other clubs didn't come in for Kyogo, Champions League level clubs. I'm surprised that bigger clubs in bigger countries from the top 5 leagues didn't see him as someone who could come in. He's 30 fine, but he's got an incredible goal-scoring record. Kyogo has been a standout performer for Celtic since arriving in the summer of 2021, with his clinical finishing and relentless work rate making him a fan favourite. His contribution has been key in Celtic's domestic dominance during his time at the club, and his impending departure leaves a significant gap in the squad. The striker was seen travelling to France earlier this week, with footage emerging of him landing to finalise his move to League One side Rennes. It's expected the transfer will be officially confirmed by Monday, marking the end of a glittering 3.5-year stint in Glasgow. Kyogo's departure will undoubtedly be a blow, but given his incredible contributions, including league titles, cup triumphs and memorable goals, the Celtic fans will likely wish him nothing but success in his next chapter. Meanwhile, Celtic are set to welcome a familiar face back to Glasgow, with Jota returning from Rennes in a swap that forms part of the Kyogo deal. The Portuguese winger left the club 18 months ago for a lucrative move to the Saudi Pro League, but struggled to find his form. After an underwhelming spell in Saudi and limited game time at Rennes, Jota now has the chance to reignite his career at a club where he thrived. Jota is already in Glasgow with the announcement of his return expected early next week. His return adds an exciting dynamic to the squad as Celtic look to fill the void left by Kyogo's departure. With movement both ways in this deal, it's shaping up to be a significant transfer window for the Hoops. If we can get Kieran Tierney signed up and a striker in alongside Jota, it's been a productive window. Celtic fans, what are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let us know down in the comments section below. That does bring us to the end of today's video. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Thank you.